Every night at 3:17, someone knocks on my door. 3 calm, deliberate knocks. The security camera shows no one there. Then the knocking starts answering me. The camera captures a shape that shouldn't exist. And a voice that knows my past, knows my mother, and says I already let it in. I moved out. But every night at 3:17, it's still waiting. I live alone. That's not a tragic statement, just a factual one. Divorced, no kids, no pets, and a job that follows me home in the form of case files and unanswered emails. When my mother died, the house sat empty for nearly a year before the bank called me. I told myself I'd sell it. I told myself I'd never sleep in that bedroom again. I told myself a lot of things. Then the rent went up. Then the city got loud. Then the quiet of this place started to feel like relief instead of a threat. The house is old but not charming old. It doesn't creak dramatically or sigh with personality. It just exists, heavy and still, like it's holding its breath. The front door is solid oak with a brass knocker shaped like a lion's head. That knocker has been there longer than I've been alive. No doorbell. Never was one. Just the knocker and the sound it makes when someone uses it, 3 firm raps, evenly spaced, polite. The first night it happened, I checked the time only because I couldn't fall back asleep. 3:17. I remember the exact shape of the sound, how it cut through the dark without echo. Not loud enough to be aggressive, not soft enough to be accidental. Someone standing straight, knuckles raised, doing what they came to do. I waited. Counted my breaths. Nothing else followed. No footsteps retreating, no car engine, no voices. Just the low hum of the refrigerator down the hall and my own heart doing something frantic and embarrassing. I didn't get up. That's important. I stayed in bed and let reason wrap its arms around me. Old house. Temperature shift. Wood expanding. I slept again eventually, though I dreamed of hallways that ended in doors I didn't remember installing. The second night, it happened again. Same knock. Same rhythm. Same time. 3:17. This time I sat up. I didn't mean to. My body moved before my thoughts could stop it, like it recognized something my conscious mind refused to name. I watched the red digits on my alarm clock fade back into darkness and listened. Silence. I didn't check the door. I didn't check anything. I told myself that if I acknowledged it, if I participated, would be agreeing to something without knowing the terms. The third night is when I installed the camera. I work in insurance investigations. I don't chase ghosts, I chase patterns. Repetition means intent. Intent means cause. A wireless door camera took less than an hour to install, and I mounted it myself, hands steady, feeling foolish and vindicated in equal measure. I angled it to cover the porch, the steps, the walkway, even the old maple tree whose branches used to scratch my bedroom window when I was a kid. That night, I left the app open on my phone and waited. I didn't have to wait long. 3:17. The knock sounded closer now, not louder, just more present, as if it had learned the acoustics of the house and adjusted itself accordingly. I grabbed my phone, heart racing, thumb already hovering over the screen. The porch was empty. No shadows. No movement. No compression artifacts or buffering delays. Just the still image of my front door as if nothing had disturbed it at all. The knock came again. I watched the live feed as the sound echoed through the hallway, and the camera showed me nothing. Not even the knocker moving. It remained perfectly still, lion's face frozen in a brass snarl. That was the moment the story stopped being about curiosity and became about fear. I didn't sleep after that. I sat at the kitchen table until dawn, replaying the footage, scrubbing through frames like I could catch the world in a lie. Nothing changed. There was no glitch, no skip time, no unexplained blur. According to the camera, nothing ever touched my door. According to my ears, someone stood inches away from me every night and announced themselves with impeccable manners. On the fourth night, I spoke. I don't remember deciding to do it. I just remember sitting on the edge of my bed, phone in my hand, camera feed open, and saying, very quietly, "Hello?" The word felt wrong in my mouth, like it belonged to another version of me. I waited, barely breathing. 3 knocks answered. Closer than ever. The camera still showed nothing, but the brass knocker began to sway. Not struck. Not moved by force. Just rocking gently, as if something unseen had let go of it a moment too late. That was when I noticed something I hadn't before. In the corner of the camera's view, just at the edge of the porch light, was a dark shape where the shadow shouldn't have been. It wasn't shaped like a person. It was shaped like a space where a person had been removed. And it was standing exactly where my mother used to wait when I was late coming home. I didn't answer the door. I never have. But every night at 3:17, something still knocks, and it's getting better at letting itself be seen. I told myself that if I ignored it long enough, it would stop. That's the lie you tell when you don't want to admit you're afraid of what persistence implies. Random noises don't keep schedules. Hallucinations don't improve their timing. Whatever was on my porch understood minutes and seconds better than I did, and it respected them more. Every night, 3:17. I stopped sleeping in my bedroom. I moved to the living room couch where I could see the front door without opening it, where the camera feed stayed visible on my phone like a second, more honest set of eyes. I started leaving lights on, not because it helped, but because darkness felt like permission. On the 5th night, the knock came early. 3:16. 1 minute isn't much, but it felt like a deliberate transgression, like a smile that lingers too long after a joke. I held my breath, staring at the door, waiting for the follow-up that never came. When 3:17 passed in silence, I felt a wave of relief so strong it made my hands shake. Then the knock came again. 3 firm raps. 3:18. It wanted me to know it could improvise. That was the night I checked the footage from previous nights more carefully. Not just the moment of the knock, but the minutes before it. I watched hours of empty porch at accelerated speed, the night sky sliding from black to darker black. Nothing moved. No animals. No insects. No wind strong enough to stir the leaves. Then, at exactly 3:16 and 40 seconds, something changed. The light on the porch didn't flicker. It dimmed, just slightly, like someone had placed a hand over it without touching it. In that dimness, the negative shape appeared again, closer to the door this time. Closer to the camera. It wasn't a shadow. Shadows need something to cast them. This thing absorbed light instead, bending it inward. The camera couldn't focus on it, not because it was blurry, but because there was nothing to focus on. It was the outline of a man-shaped absence, shoulders slumped forward, head tilted like it was reading the house. And then it raised its arm. The knocker moved. I shut the app and threw my phone across the room like it had burned me. The next morning, I called a technician. I told him the camera was malfunctioning, that it showed movement without motion detection triggers. He laughed politely and said he'd take a look. When he arrived, he stood on the porch for less than a minute before stepping back, frowning. "Door's solid," he said. "Knocker's loose, though. Needs tightening." I watched his hands as he touched it, half expecting them to pass through. They didn't. The knocker was real. The door was real. The house behaved itself in daylight, like it knew better than to embarrass me. In front of witnesses. Before he left, the technician asked me if I'd been using the door recently. "No," I said. He nodded. Funny. It's worn on the inside. Like it's been opened a lot. That night, I dreamed of my mother standing in the hallway, her back to me, whispering my name without moving her lips. When I woke, the clock read 3:14. I didn't wait. I stood in front of the door, camera feed open, hand hovering inches from the deadbolt. My heart felt too big for my chest, each beat an accusation. The porch outside was empty, perfectly lit, offensively normal. 3:17 arrived without ceremony. The knock sounded different this time. Slower. Heavier. As if the thing on the other side had learned patience and wanted to show it off. I didn't speak. I didn't breathe. The camera feed shifted. For the first time, the absence resolved into something closer to detail. A curve where a face might be. A darker hollow where eyes should have been. The outline of fingers wrapped around the knocker, not gripping it, just resting there, familiar with the weight. Then the camera audio picked something up. Not the knock. Breathing. It was shallow and uneven, like someone trying not to be heard. And underneath it, barely audible, a voice that sounded like mine when I was younger. "Mom," it whispered. I stepped back from the door, every instinct screaming at me to run, but my feet refused. The voice came again, clearer now, closer to the microphone. I forgot my key. That was the moment I understood. It wasn't trying to get in. It was trying to be let back. Memories flooded in uninvited, nights I came home late, the way my mother would wait by the door no matter how angry she was, how she never knocked, how she always said the same thing when I opened it. "You scared me." As if fear were a shared space we both occupied. I had moved out years before she died. The house had felt smaller after that, quieter in a way that wasn't peaceful. I hadn't been there the night. She collapsed. A neighbor found her in the morning, just inside the doorway. The report said natural causes. Heart failure. Sudden. Clean. No one mentioned the door. The knocking came again, and this time the camera showed the door handle turning from the outside, slowly, experimentally. The deadbolt held. The voice changed. "Please," it said, and now it sounded like my mother. I don't know how long I stood there. Time had stopped behaving in ways I recognized. When I finally spoke, my voice felt borrowed. "You can't come in," I said. The handle stopped turning. The absence leaned closer to the door, pressing against it without touching, and for the first time, the camera captured something like a face. Not hers. Not mine. Something built out of memory and need, wearing familiar voices like clothes. "You already let me in," it said softly. The porch light went out. When it came back on, the porch was empty. No shadow. No absence. The knocker hung motionless, tightened just enough that it no longer swayed. I didn't sleep after that. I packed what I could at dawn and left the house with the door unlocked behind me. I told myself I was done. That some places don't want to be owned. I live somewhere else now. A building with neighbors and cameras and a doorbell that sings instead of knocks. But every night, at 3:17, my phone vibrates. There's no alert. No notification. Just a gentle reminder from the camera app, still installed, still connected to a house I no longer enter. When I open it, I see the front door. And just inside the glass, reflected faintly where I should be standing, is the shape of someone waiting for me to come home.